Today, we are going to discuss about Mahajanapadas and how its democracy used to work. We are also going to compare its democracy with other contemporary democracies, such as Roman Republic and Greek democracy. The word Mahajanapadas came from Sanskrit. Maha means great realm, and Janapada means foothold of a people. The Mahajanapadas were 16 kingdoms or oligarchic republics that existed in ancient India, from 6th to 4th centuries BCE during the Second Urbanization period. The 6th/5th centuries BCE is often regarded as a major turning point in early Indian history. During this period India's first large cities arose, after the demise of the Indus Valley civilization. The two types of the Mahajanapadas were most probably Gasagas, or oligarchic republics, and the others had forms of monarchy. Proof of republics. Indian literature comprising Brahmanical, Buddhist and Jain texts mention different types of non-monarchical states called Ganas or Sanghas, and this account is corroborated by the statements of the Greek historians of the Alexander's campaigns in India, as an outsider's opinion. The Greek writer Megasthenes wrote that most of the Indian cities of the time had a democratic form of government, and also mentioned several tribes who had no kings. His statements were corroborated by Arrian, who was a Greek historian, public servant and military commander. Arrian said that the superintends report everything to the king, where people had a king, and to the magistrates, where the people were self-governed. Buddhist texts clearly indicate about the Sakya assembly, gathered to discuss important business such as forging alliances, going to war and concluding peace. Panini's Ashtadhyayi and Majjhima Nikaya also include the terms Ganas and Sanghas, as a literary proof for this type of republics. The coins used by the Yaudhayas and Mallavas also mention the term Gana in the coins, indicating their non-monarchical polity. Functioning of republic. In a Gana Sangha, the right to govern the territories was given only to a few ruling families. They alone were the members of the assemblies. Other members of the communities had no right to governance. The representatives of the heads of the ruling families may have sat in the public assembly or Santhagara of the capital. The office of chief executive of the state was not hereditary and, he was more a chief than a king. All the important issues were placed before the assembly, and all decisions were taken only if they were unanimous among the members. Meetings at the Santhagara or public assembly. Meetings at the Santhagara were announced by the beating of a drum, and there was a regulator of seats. Voting was done with pieces of wood, known as salakas. The collector of votes was known as Salakagahapaka, who was chosen for this job because of his reputation for honesty and impartiality. There was another person, who was called Ganapuraka. He was responsible for ensuring the presence of a quorum. Quorum means minimum number of members that must be present in the assembly, to make the proceedings of that meeting valid. Buddhist and other texts refer to 16 great nations or Solesa Mahajanapadas that existed prior to the time of the Buddha. The Buddhist Anguttara Nikaya gives a list of 16 great nations. Those were Anga, Asaka or Asmaka, Avanti, Chedi, Gandhara, Kashi, Cambodia, Kosala, Kuru, Magadha, Mulla, Matsya or Makcha, Panchala, Surasena, Vaji, Butts or Vamsa. The Roman Republic. It was founded in 509 BCE after the last Etruscan king that ruled Rome was overthrown. Rome's next government served as a representative democracy, in the form of a republic. Initially, Rome's wealthiest families, the patricians, held power and only they could hold political or religious offices. Everyone else was considered plebeian, and no member of this group could hold office. Over a period of nearly 200 years, the plebeians fought for, and gained power within the government. At the heart of the Roman Republic was the Senate. The Senate advised on matters pertaining to rules governing the city and population. In the Republic, members of the patrician class served as advisors to the other governing bodies of the Republic. Although the Senate did not formally make laws, the prestige of its members gave the Senate great influence over Rome's lawmaking bodies. The Senate lasted as a sole governing body for the Republic for only a brief time, lasting from the Republic's founding in 509 BCE until 494 BCE. In 494 BCE, a strike orchestrated by the plebeians resulted in the establishment of the Concilium Plebis, or the Council of the Plebs. This gave the plebeians a voice in the government. As a result, new legislative, or law-making bodies of the Roman Republic were formed. Called assemblies, these legislative bodies shared power in the following ways. Comitia Centuriata. This body decided about war, passed laws, elected magistrates, namely, consuls, praetors, and censors. The magistrates considered appeals of capital convictions, and conducted foreign relations. Concilium Plebis. This body elected its own officials and formulated decrees. These decrees were the rules, to be followed, by the plebeian class. However, in 287 BCE, it gained the power to make all decrees binding, for the entire Roman community. Comitia Tributa. The tribal assemblies, open to all citizens, elected minor officials, approved legislative decisions often on local matters, and could wield judicial powers but could only levy fines rather than administer punishment. Although, citizens only used to mean free and adult males. Leading the Republic were two consuls, who were elected by legislative assemblies. They served for 1 year, presided over the Roman Senate, and commanded the Roman military. Each of the two consuls only served for 6 months. Although their power was somewhat limited by the establishment of other magistrate positions, the consuls were effectively the heads of state. The ancient Greek democracy. The word democracy comes from two Greek words, demos and kratos. Demos means people, and kratos means rule. The first democracy to arise in Greece was Athens. Athenian democracy developed around the 5th century BCE. The Greek idea of democracy was different from present-day democracy, because, in Athens, all adult citizens were required to take an active part in the government. If they did not fulfill their duty, they would be fined, and sometimes marked with red paint. The Athenian definition of citizens was also different from modern-day citizens. Only free men were considered citizens in Athens. Women, children, and slaves were not considered citizens, and therefore could not vote. Each year 500 names were chosen from all the citizens of ancient Athens. Those 500 citizens had to actively serve in the government for 1 year. During that year, they were responsible for making new laws, and controlled all parts of the political process. When a new law was proposed, all the citizens of Athens had the opportunity to vote on it. To vote, citizens had to attend the assembly on the day the vote took place. So, we can see that the Mahajanapadas Republic closely resemble the early style of Roman Republic, before the 494 BCE strike of the plebeian class in Rome. Although, in India's case, maybe because of frequently changing boundaries of the various kingdoms that existed within India, the democracy or republic did not get the chance to evolve into a more representative style of democracy. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed the video, please do consider to hit the like button. Also share the video, and do consider subscribing to the channel. Your like, share, comments, and subscribe will motivate me and keep making more videos.